Next, we go to Jake, allegedly, who has a two-part buy-seller hold, and I thought this was interesting. Part 1, the concept of the nuclear family is an aberration. We're meant to live in larger, extended family groups. I think it's Sohrab Omari who is a proponent of this idea. At least I've seen him talk about this in the past.
Well, since Sohrab is talking about it, I can see from his point of view, I would buy. We in our comfort and our desire not to be bothered, we are shipping off, grandma and grandpa to the assisted living place, and we just have all kinds of options like that. But yep. I agree. I grew up. My grandma lived with us from the time my younger brother, who's 3 years younger than you, was born. And she didn't move out until I was almost in college, I think. Yeah, it was wonderful. It was a gift. So I absolutely do think if it's Sohrab talking, it's normative. I can see a way this gets sideways though if it's somebody else talking about it. But I'll tentatively buy.
Well, originally we have Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, then Seth. So we have a nuclear family. Mm-hmm. Okay, the world is rebooted after Noah's flood. And Noah's sons go off and settle with their own families. Mm-hmm. So the idea that there's no biblical basis at all for the idea of the nuclear family, I don't agree with that.
Nor do I.
I am sympathetic to making this argument in terms of the idea that we don't stay interconnected as a family once the children are grown, that are elderly, and hey, sometimes they have issues and care. We just went through this with my father-in-law for the last year. He had to have in-home hospice before he passed away. And those things aren't cheap, obviously. They also had life expectancies in the 30s, 40s, or 50s in a lot of these societies that didn't live this way. Okay, mm-hmm. I mean, if they didn't have the healthcare to prolong life. If somebody was elderly and fell down and broke their hip, that might be it. They might call it curtains. They can't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, so I am sympathetic. So I think if we're making this a very specific application, I think it's over the top. If we're making though a larger statement about the devaluing of the family after a certain stage of life, or for certain family members that are in a certain stage of life, then I would agree with it. So, so I'll sell because I think this is presented too comprehensively, even though I am sympathetic to it situationally.
Part 2. Conceptualizing the nuclear family was one of the early steps taken to break the family.
I don't agree with that either. I'm gonna sell on that. I think what was conceptualized was the idea of finding your identity, your purpose, unconditional love, finding those things outside of family, I think is what was conceptualized.
Yeah, I do have to sell on this one. This is, you're saying the thing was a Trojan horse all along for something. I don't believe that.